Hi, I'm David Alemian, and I'm a foodie. Today, we're making jerk sauce to go on our Caribbean chicken that we have baking in the oven right now. So what are we going to start with? How are we going to make this? Well, I have a garlic clove, I have an onion, I have 6 habanero peppers, and I have rubber gloves to wear for when we're handling the habanero peppers, because you don't want to handle these with your bare hands. A couple of stalks of green onion, some soy sauce, 1 cup of chicken broth, some butter, tomato paste, thyme, and we're going to make a roux in a few minutes to go with it. Little butter and flour mixed together, and we're going to use that later to thicken our jerk sauce. So first, we'll start with chopping up our garlic clove. Very gently, with the palm of your hand, just press down until you hear it crack. And then put your knife down, and you'll see that outer skin just peels right away magically. Now I'm going to chop this up, just mince it. Here is my onion, and I'm going to show you a nice way to cut this. First, we're going to cut it in half. On the bottom part of the onion, we're simply going to cut that piece away. And I'm going to take out the top 2 outer layers of the onion. With my chef's knife, I'm going to make slices this way, just as far in as it'll go. I don't force my knife at all, about halfway, 3/4. Next, I'm going to take my chef's knife, turn the onion sideways, and make slices going this way, right across the onion. Now, I'm going to hold this and slice this way across those cuts that I just made, and that's going to make my onion dice up nice and fine. Next, what I want to do is I want to saute the onion and the garlic, so I'm turning my stove on, and we're going to put some butter in the pan. While I'm waiting for that butter to melt, I'm going to start working on the habaneros. What we're going to do is cut the tops off of each one, and then remove the seeds, and then dice these up very fine. Now, sometimes your habaneros will have like a little dark spot on the side. Doesn't really mean anything. I just cut it off. Next, I'm going to slice lengthwise, and we'll remove the seeds from the habaneros. Alrighty, now I'm going to cut these peppers lengthwise into strips. What I'm going to do is cut them up, dice them up nice. I'm going to just put these habaneros right in here. And next, I'm going to take my garlic and my onion. I'm going to put it over here in the pan. I'll just pulse this a few times to chop up those habanero peppers as fine as I can. Now I want to add about a half a teaspoon of tomato paste. I'm going to take it off the heat, and I have a stick of butter that I started to melt in this pot here. I'm going to put this on my main burner, and my butter is just about melted. Add some flour and whisk it in so that we can turn our butter and flour and make a roux. So just add a little flour in there. Whisk this up nice. So what I used was 1/4 stick of butter and about an equal amount or so of flour. And now I've made my roux. I'm going to set this aside for now, for when I need it later. Next, I'm going to come back and put our saute pan back onto the burner and let that heat up. Actually, we're going to put the heat up a little higher now, because what I'm going to add is my chicken broth and one more ingredient. This is jerk rub. Now I'm going to add my jerk sauce, my jerk rub, right into the pan. And while that's heating, I'm going to finely chop up a couple of stalks of green onion. And I'm going to food process that as well. So food processing a little bit more. Wonderful habanero pepper is going right in here. Now we're going to blend that in with everything else that we put into this pan. Now we add just a quarter teaspoon of thyme. I'm going to add my chicken broth, slowly mixing it in. Now I'm going to add 1/4 cup of soy sauce. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to let this reduce for about 5 minutes. I'll get it up to a nice little simmer, and then I'll lower the heat. All right, we have been simmering this for about 5 minutes, and we've reduced it down so it started to thicken. The next thing we want to do is, as you recall, we made a roux. Just some butter and flour. And we're going to add the roux into this pot, into the saucepan, to thicken the gravy, or the jerk sauce. Now we're just going to stir this up, and we have a really thick, absolutely amazingly flavorful jerk sauce in this pan. I'm David Alemian. I'm a foodie, and I want to thank you for tuning into my video. Thanks again.